What is up? Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Whatever Show. I am Lawrence Winnerman, and you will notice I am joined not by the charming Dana Dubois, but by the even more charming KR Byers. Now I've issued fighting words. Um, KR, how the hell you doing?
I'm good. I think, feel like you said you felt a little bit earlier, tired a bit today.
I daylight savings time. I prefer daylight savings time to standard time. But every time we do the switch, I feel like I get like time lagged or something. Like it takes me seriously days to sort of get over the switch in time, and it doesn't matter if we're like springing forward or falling back. What about you? Does it hit you the same way?
I usually don't notice if I notice it. I don't know. Like if it is hitting me this year, then this is the first time I've been aware of it hitting me, you know?
Yeah,
But usually I just adjust. I don't even really notice it. Usually someone has to remind me it happened because now your phone automatically switches and flips and stuff, and so does your computer. And so when you used to have to do all that manually, still it kind of fucked with me. Maybe I don't know. I don't
yeah,
remember.
yeah. I had a moment this weekend when time changed where there's a clock in my bathroom that I never changed when we fell back in the fall. And so for like all of winter, I look at that clock and I'm like, all right, well, I need to subtract 1 hour from that. And then Monday or Sunday morning or whatever it was, I like looked at it and I was like, oh, it's right again. So, there you go. A testament to being lazy. Sometimes, if you wait long enough, the issue will fix itself.
Yeah, I feel like that used to be like the clock in my vehicles. Uh,
Yeah. Or,
they
or
would
the
just,
microwave or the VCR. Or, yeah.
yep, half the year it would be, right, and then the other half it would be wrong. So,
Yeah. Well, hey, a programming note for everyone. Dana Dubois, my fearless co-host, she's been sick for like 2 weeks at this point. And
oof.
last night she was like, "Would you mind if I just slept in today?" And I was like, "Go for it. Like that's what I need to do when I'm sick. I usually need to just kind of like tell the world to fuck off. And if I'm really sick, the only thing that works for me is sleeping like 15, 20 hours a day.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. It's rest is definitely one of those things that the worse I feel, the more of it I want to get.
Yeah, Karen, I feel like every time I see you, man, you're more purple.
Well, I'm actually a little bit less purple today because I'm not wearing a purple hat.
Oh, there you go. That's right. That's right. I love that it's your signature color, bro. Like you told me before you decided like purple is your thing. That's your brand.
Yeah, I,
Is there like a specific shade of purple? Like if I asked you for the hex code right now, could you be like, "Oh yeah, it's FC1247."
I do actually have it saved somewhere, yeah, but I couldn't
Nice.
tell you off the top of my head. It
Nice.
is royal purple though, so you could just type in hex code for royal purple and
Got it.
it would come
Royal
up.
purple. So you're uh isn't it? It's crazy what we remember because what I remember about royal purple is that it was a color that came from seashells off the coast of Tyre in the Mediterranean Sea, and it was so rare that's what made it royal purple. Like it was this vivid, like natural dye, and but it was so rare and precious that only royalty could wear it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know where it came from exactly, but I did know that it was at one point in time the like hardest, most rare color for like them to be able to make or whatever.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, they probably only had like back when that was like a thing, they probably only had like understanding of like six colors of clothes, anyways. So
yeah. I mean, this is
they're like, you got brown, gray, black, light brown.
so there's actually I've read this someplace. We're just gonna freeform it today, and I'm gonna nerd out here for a second because not only do I remember that it came from Tyre, from seashells, from crushed seashells, but uh, there's a theory that humans couldn't see the color purple until kind of the Greek era, because early writers never, like, they described every other sort of common color, but they never described the color purple until like after that particular era. Like, I don't know, there's something about Homer writes about, I don't know, it's Homer or one of those guys writes about the wine dark sea. Like, they just never had a word for purple. And somebody's like, maybe they couldn't see it, or like maybe like they didn't. I don't know. I'm messing it up.
No, I honestly, I would totally believe that. I mean, the whole blue or black or white or gold dress thing, that changed my perspective of reality completely, because it made me realize that different people definitely see reality completely fucking differently.
Right? Oh my god. Yeah, I have like have that's mind blowing. Like when you think about that. Like, I remember being, I don't know, in like high school or something, and I don't think I was stoned because I didn't do that back in high school. But like, I remember having a moment, or many, like weeks at a time, where I was like, what if the color I see as red is the color that somebody else sees as blue? Like, we can never truly be inside the mind of another person.
Yeah.
What if it's completely wired differently in somebody else's brain?
Yeah, no, I remember thinking about that too. I don't remember how old I was or whatever, but it had to have been fairly young, because the elementary school, the town I grew up in, the elementary and like middle school are one school, and then you have to like ship out for high school
Right.
because it's so small. And the school only had like 4 teachers. And so you would be with like the same teacher for, a few years. And then you would go back and be with that same teacher again, because they would flip them around. It was like a random like draw on what grade you got, I guess. I don't know how it worked, but it was very strange. But Mr. Nelson was a teacher that I had quite a bit. He was a good guy. I'm actually friends with him on Facebook. He's a decent human being.
Nice.
Yeah, he a Vietnam vet and stuff, and yeah, so he was colorblind though, is the point. And so he would constantly have to ask us, what color is this, when he was like grabbing like a colored pencil out of the box or a crayon or whatever to color things in, because he wasn't sure. It seems like to me, from what I understood as a kid, and I don't know if this is accurate, it almost felt like the colors like constantly changed on him. um so because otherwise it would be like, well, just memorize that color is, if someone tells you that's red all the time, then you should be able to see it as whatever color you're seeing it, and then remember, oh, okay, that's what red turns to. But that doesn't seem to be the case for him.
Yeah.
So it must have been like some days he'd wake up and like red would appear blue, some days it'd be green, whatever. And so I realized that I always wanted to see the world through his eyes. I remember thinking that, because I wanted to see what everything looked like.
Yeah, I knew somebody who's colorblind, who kind of described it to me that like they could differentiate, but it was all sort of shades of similar colors. Like, not shades of gray, but like, I don't know, like shades of a brownish sort of color. And I could kind of get that, right? That like, maybe you look at it and you're like, I don't know, fuck, like that shade of brown, I don't remember what that one's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah, you're describing it perfectly. So that's probably more what it was. So yeah, it was just yeah, he'd always be checking and stuff. I kind of always wish that he would have done like something from his own perspective instead of asking every now and again, just so
Right.
we could see like how like things kind of were translated in his eyes and stuff. That would have been kind of cool.
Right. Like, he would have colored things in, and you guys would, your young minds would have been blown.
Yeah. Would have been like a acid trip.
Right. I understand now. My eyes have been opened.
Well, I started smoking weed at 9 years old, so I probably could have been left over high at school during some of those lessons.
Yeah. Wow. 9 years old. Was that like? Did older brothers or something introduce you to it? I was
Stepdad and his buddy.
Yeah.
we were going out to get firewood, and they were passing the pipe because we're in it was a 1-cab truck, and they were passing it over me back and forth, and like I just kept on like looking at it, and Seth, I think was his name, was like, "Do you want to try it?" And then my stepdad was like, "No, he's too young." And then Seth's like, "Oh, who cares? Fucking Elk City sucks," or something like that. And so he was like, "All right, whatever." And I don't remember feeling high though till I was like about 12. So I smoked like on and off for a few years and stuff before I remember the first time I got high.
Yeah. So the first time I got high was with Dana, actually. Like that, we've been friends for so long that literally the first time we got high was together. And we were like the total good kid nerds in high school. So we did not actually get high in high school. We waited until we waited until we had gone off to college. And the first year of college, we came home for like, I don't know, Thanksgiving break or something. And oh my God, so my sister's going to kill me. My sister and her boyfriend at the time, who was apparently a weed dealer, they got us high. And so it wasn't actually the first time I had smoked, but it was the first time I got high. And Dana and I had this insane experience. We had this big round kitchen table, and Dana and I were sitting on opposite sides of it, and we had like passed the joint around or whatever, and my sister and her buddy were like, they were high, and they were like, "Oh, are you guys feeling it yet? Are you feeling it yet?" And Dana and I were like sitting there, we're like, no, 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 not really. I mean, maybe a little. There's like this like weird swirling motion, and we're both like, we both start doing this, like we're totally in sync, and we're like everything's kind of swirling, and it's just like going around in a big circle like this, and like we were doing this hand motion thing, and I remember my sister like looking at us like, "Oh fuck, we broke them." Like she was legit terrified that oh my God, did we get something laced with PCP or something? Like, does this have acid in it? Because they are totally fucking tripping out. And my favorite part of that memory is we had when I was growing up, we had a piano, and I got so high that I sat down at the piano and I just started like I wasn't banging on the keys, but I was kind of like doing this thing where I was like, just going up and down the keyboard. I was like, I can play the piano. Listen to this music. It's so beautiful. I was 100% convinced that the weed had unlocked like my natural like Beethoven or Bach or something, right?
Artistic ability.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it may have. Hey, if you would have trained just a little bit that day, you could have ended up walking away to the next Beethoven.
God damn it, KR. You're right. It was a missed opportunity. Did you play an instrument or anything growing up? You seem like a dude who would have played guitar or something.
No, I just never. I mean, I did vocals. Like I was in a band, and we did. My buddy Daniel Moore, he did. He could play every instrument. He was one of those guys. Like the first time I ever saw him, the first time he ever got to play around with, rather a. God damn it, I can't think of the name. It's like a piano, but it's bigger and got the tubes and stuff.
An organ, like a pipe organ?
An organ, yeah, a church organ. He figured out how to play it like right off the bat. He could pick up any instrument and just learn how to play it. But he taught me a few things like on the drums. And then, of course, I did like the fucking flute thing with school, the recorder.
Yeah. Yeah.
But other than that, like I did vocals. Like we recorded this one song, Mr. T Can Suck My D, because Mr. T was like the worst teacher in our high school. And yeah, we got in trouble for that
Mr. T
one.
From the A Team. See, this is the generational difference.
Yeah.
You say Mr. T, and I immediately think A Team, but this was a teacher in your school.
Yeah. He He was a douche. He was just one of those guys that just seemed like he just like fucking hated his life and wanted everybody else to hate their life too.
Yeah. You know, do you think like he did he know that there was a song called Mr. T can suck my D? Did he find
Uh,
out?
Yeah, so we ended up playing it on the morning announcements. So the morning announcements would be recorded on like a little like tape player at that
Right.
school, and then there was like a wall and stuff of like all the different ways they could connect to different classrooms. At the bottom was like where the tape would go, and then like in the morning the principal would just walk by and hit play, and so we just put our tape in. So the first chorus of the song started out right away. It was just, and it was awful, god awful fucking recording. And so it was just started out immediately like Mr. T can suck my D, and like she immediately came and shut it off. So we did get it in trouble for that, but not as much as you think. We didn't even get suspended, I don't think so.
Yeah, maybe it was one of those situations where, the other teachers and principals were like, they kind of got a point. Like he is an asshole.
Yeah. And don't stunt their creativity. I mean, god.
Right, right. Yeah, we don't want to quash their creative talents.
Yeah.
Imagine being that guy, right? And he goes home from work that day and he's like, everybody hates me so much the kids wrote a song about how much they hate me.
Yeah. He had to have known though, you know what I mean? Like there's no like you get a sixth sense about like how people feel about you to some degree unless they're really phony. And high school kids are not like, they're phony to each other, but they are not phony to how they feel about teachers often, you know what I mean? So he had to have definitely known.
Yeah, God. I don't know, man. I get that he was an asshole, and there's a part of me that's like, that's got to be, I don't know, like you've done your life wrong. If your chosen career is teacher, and the people that you're teaching absolutely fucking hate you,
Yeah.
maybe at that moment you're like, you know what, I'm gonna sell all my shit and move down to like Zihuatanejo and go live in a shack on the beach because I'm doing shit wrong,
Yeah. Well, where I grew up, a lot of the teachers were they were more conservative leaning individuals, and I'm not saying that all conservatives are assholes or unhappy people or whatever by any means.
But I am.
But yeah, Lawrence is. But the conservative teachers just kind of don't often like fit very well. They have
Yeah.
this mindset that kids need to be you know disciplined more so than is even usually necessary, and they have no real empathy for kids that have kind of a shit home life either, and
Right.
so yeah, there was quite a few. When I got down here to the Treasure Valley, Boise, I started actually meeting more good teachers, because like there was a couple teachers that were good and stuff, but besides Mr. Nelson, like I said, growing up or whatever, none of them really like stuck out as being great teachers. And when I came down here, then I met like a bunch of great teachers,
Yeah.
and it makes sense. They were in an area that they fit in better and in a job profession that they actually wanted to be in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm gonna brag on my family for a minute. So my sister and brother-in-law are both teachers. He's a teacher, she's a teacher's assistant, but she has been for years. And my mom volunteers with this thing called Project Read, which is basically like extra, out of school program to help kids who are not at grade level kind of get read up at grade level.
yeah,
It's basically, I don't know, tutoring. And like 90% of our dinner table conversations are about, the kids in their classes and their home lives and like what can be done to help kids in their classes, and how they all three of them do like extra work to like they try to find the kid, who's maybe most in danger of really falling behind, and like coach them and show them that an adult cares. And
yeah.
so it's really inspiring. Like I think if I were ever going to be a teacher, I'd probably want to be like a high school or teacher or college professor or something, just to kind of get into like deeper concepts. But there's so much to be said for teachers at younger grade levels who really go out of their way to help kids not fall completely behind. Because, man, I'm telling you, like, the educational system in this country, the way that it has fallen apart is, I mean, I think a big part of like why we're in the bullshit we're in right now is because so many people fucking hated school because it was, basically just training people to be automatons in the giant corporate workforce, and that's soul crushing.
Yeah. And if you didn't fit into a certain category or shell or whatever, so to speak, then they just kind of shunned you or whatever, pushed you out. And, they would insist that you needed, special ed type classes or whatever, and then everybody knew that you were, a dummy or whatever, not that you were dumb, but that's
Right.
just what everybody knew, even though it wasn't even the case. It was just like me, I realized that like I never got put in any of those special like ed classes or whatever. I kind of just committed to failing out of school at an early age, so I didn't really care to try to do anything like that. But uh, I wasn't challenged at all. Like it just wasn't challenging in a way that suited my mind. And anytime that I did find something that suited my mind and was challenging, I actually would excel at it. And so,
Yeah.
over the years, I learned that, I had to talk myself into it. And still some days I have to talk myself into realizing that I'm not as stupid as small hick towns made me feel I was. And so that's something I think that they fail. But yeah, the education system is about ready to be even more fucked. Like I know someone that works at Boise State, and a lot of the budget cutting there is being done to the education department at the school,
Yeah.
and specifically in the department that trains new teachers.
Yep.
And so like they're having less numbers already as it is, and now it's going to have even less funding, which means less like recruiting, less going to high school campuses and trying to convince kids to join up and go into education. And yeah, some of the stories I've heard from that individual about some of the people that are going in to be teachers as it is kind of frightening. Like they probably shouldn't be teachers.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, teaching is such a thing in my family that my nephew is, he's about to graduate from IU, from Indiana University this year as a teacher. Like he, is getting I'm pretty sure he's getting his master's. Like he's doing that kind of, I think, fast track, like, um, bachelor's and master's, like at the same time kind of thing. I think that's right.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's graduating this year. He's going into teaching, inspired by his mom and his dad. And, um, like he's talking about all of the stuff that's getting cut out of the education department at IU, and it's like IU is a pretty well respected teaching school, right? Like the
Yeah.
education department there has been really solid, and like it's yeah, it's just gonna get worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, props to good teachers because they're seriously like doing God's work, or however you want to say that, like
Yeah. No, I
trying to.
agree.
And I think the other thing that's really happened that really screwed kids over is all the fun stuff got cut. Like music and gym and shop and like all of the really the things where you could have done something else, and a teacher or an adult could have been like, oh, hey, look, little Sally might not be a mathematician, but she can play the jazz piano like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or she's a natural with the bandsaw, whatever the hell like those things are getting cut. And you know I don't know, man. I've always felt like since the 80s we've done this really fucked up thing in the country where we exalted like super higher education, and it had to be a very specific kind. It was all about like, oh, could you be a Wall Street bro, like
Yeah.
could you become
Doctor,
Mitt
lawyer,
Romney?
Wall Street.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
like could you become an expert in, mergers and acquisitions and,
Yeah.
selling American companies to the Japanese and whatever. And it was all about that, and none of it was about like getting people into things that actually were a really good fit for them. If somebody's got a really natural proclivity towards, like, machining, or, they can put together anything with their hands, and, they're a great mechanic. Like, fuck it, let's make them a fucking master mechanic, like that's what they did in Germany, like, if you're, in Germany and working, for BMW or Mercedes or one of the big car companies out there, there are people who are like revered for their mechanical ability. Like, they've got all this training and all this expertise, and people are in apprentice programs with them, and we just don't do any of that here, it feels like.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I mean, you have like, I don't know if your state has passed any sort of school voucher program or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep.
And those they felt scammy to begin with, and now like it's totally like being revealed that they are totally scammy, because most of the people that are, using them are people who will talk shit about welfare while they're using those funds to send their kids to school, and they're like, people who make $500,000 a year and we're already sending their kids to a private school. So it's just a way for, wealthy people, it seems like, more so to, save money, and so I hope that goes away, and so that you start getting more funding into public schools. Here in Idaho, we've cut funding to like Boise State University and all these universities like exponentially, to the point where this year no one who works there at Boise State, which is a pretty well known school at this point, is getting a raise.
School. Yeah.
Nobody's getting a raise. And so to me, that's fucking ridiculous. And I understand like schools like you're saying with the one where you're at, they're cutting all these programs, and these budgets are going down, and see most of these schools like Boise State seem to be just like preserving their athletic departments, because those are what make money, right? Like those come with the big giant multi-million-dollar awards when they win bowls and all this stuff. And so it's going to get, like we said, it's going to get worse before it gets better again. I do believe it will come back around and get better again. It's just going to take time. And so, and people waking up and realizing, oh, hey, this might sound good when, some guy yells it on stage, and, screams about how the education system's broken and we need to do something. But realistically, we just needed to work on the education system we already had, not try to completely replace it.
Right.
And like in smaller towns, and a good, I don't remember how much, but a good like 40% of our population live in more rural areas still.
Yeah.
We didn't have shit for special programs, like there was band class was a joke. It was, trying to teach the kids how to play a recorder from someone who didn't know how to play a recorder. I don't remember one single one of my fucking teachers ever busting out the recorder and just being like,
right.
They were just like, now you put your fingers here, you put your fingers there, now blow. Okay, good. Try again. And they just looked like they were miserable because we probably sounded like shit,
Right.
And so,
Right. And there's that weird, like, if they don't know how to play the recorder, like, there's a double feeling of shit, because you're like, well, but I can't show you how to do it right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, like you said, like it was one of those things where you could have, learned at a young age that you were good at instruments, or you were good at, like, where I was, like, you would think, being a small town that was like 99% physical labor for the jobs around, that they would have taught physical labor. No, they did not.
Right.
They didn't teach
like,
anything that you needed to do.
Not kinesiology, but like just basic like body mechanics, right? Like, I don't know. Yeah, like the thing that blows my mind that doesn't get taught in schools, and I mean, I guess it used to be, but not when I was alive, is like, here's how you balance a checkbook. Here's how you decide not to take the high interest credit card, right? Like,
Yeah.
here's why doing that Affirm thing on Amazon.com for that thing you can't really afford is a bad idea. Like,
Yeah.
we just need to teach people basic, like, not just home ec, like, here's basic food handling protocols.
Yeah. Right. not just like how to memorize like numbers and figures and stuff, but actually how to like apply them to your life.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like here's how to not accidentally kill yourself the moment you leave your parents' home, you know?
Yeah.
Like do not cut your raw chicken on a wooden cutting board that you then cut the vegetables on, you know, like
Yeah.
there's an order of operations to things. You're going to give yourself salmonella repeatedly if you do it that way. Yeah, like so. I mean, I'm in Indiana. You're in Idaho. Like we're both in sort of deep red states. You know, separated by little more than a letter in the alphabet, basically, and
Yeah.
conservatism. So you know, we've got the voucher things here too. And part of what I hear is that a lot of the like vouchers and charter school stuff that are getting spun up around here are like explicitly Christian fundamentalist, and the laws have become so lax that they can name what their teaching protocols are. Like they can say like, oh well, these are the books we use and these are the theories we teach, and they're literally like saying like, oh well, the Bible is our textbook, and these are we're teaching the theory of creationism, and so like we already feel like we live in a world where people have completely different worldviews, but like now, imagine 18, 20 years from now, you're going to get kids graduating from these schools, and I mean, they already exist, they're already out there, who are like no, that gravity, no, that's not true, like it's not in the Bible.
Yeah. Well, let's see, what percentage of Americans think dinosaurs and humans existed at the same time?
All right, hang on.
41%.
How much?
41%.
Oh my God.
41% of Americans think that dinosaurs and humans existed at the same fucking time.
I was gonna guess 34%, and yeah, of course it's higher than I would have guessed.
But then we have what, a 28% illiteracy rate, which your
Right.
grandma or your mom, I mean, is helping to combat.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous. I mean, it's just Jesus. This is why, pro-choice is great, because like idiots shouldn't be raising kids, because then they just raise idiots.
I mean, you've seen the movie Idiocracy, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally that, right? Like literally, you know, just the people who I don't know. Well, I'm not gonna cast aspersions. I'm gonna stop there.
Yeah.
Um,
Fair enough.
because you don't like talking about politics. Like you've reoriented yourself. I mean, I don't know. Like I've been here long enough. I've known you long enough that when we first met, you were very much about humor and fun stuff. And then for a while, you started to get political. And then I think you were like, nah, fuck this. This is way too much heartache. And so you're kind of back to like literally, I look forward to seeing every one of your posts because it's always something either really thought provoking or absolutely fucking adorable. Like the cute puppies being rescued under the deck. Like, come on,
Yeah.
So but you're doing that on purpose, right? Like you're trying to keep things more positive.
Yeah. I don't mind like talking like on lives, because I don't do them like you guys every day. I don't mind necessarily discussing them here and there. Like I have my own Substack live at noon Mountain Time today with Brandon, and I'm going to quiz him on objects. I'm not going to say anything more just in case he's in here. I can't see if he's in here.
I'm gonna have to tune into that because the mind goes many places.
I'm hoping it'll be fun, and it should lead to some, hopefully funny stories or conversations or results or whatever. But, I don't mind discussing them, here and there. But my main thing is there's a lot of really, really fucking smart people who do politics. And so it's one of those things where you kind of got to like, I don't know, stay in your lane a little bit, so to speak, or whatever. And for me, like,
I
I
get
know
that.
I'm an intelligent human being. I'm not like a super duper, big idiot or anything, but I don't have like all of the things memorized that some of these awesome political figures do, and I don't have the knowledge of the inner workings of all of these sorts of, establishments and groups and people. And, I don't have every politician who's currently serving in the US's name memorized. And there are fucking people who seem to, and
Yeah.
so I don't want to go try to, it's like, to me, it's the same. If I try to get into politics, like as my main means of, income or profession or whatever, it would be similar to me trying to go join the NBA to play basketball. It's, I'm 38 years old and I played basketball, for fun. I've never, and I'm
Right.
not good at all. I'm
Right.
not even remotely, not
Right.
even nothing. I am bad. My kids could whoop my ass when they were,
But you're
in
6'10",
kindergarten.
right?
Yeah, yeah. And so it would just be a waste of fucking time, and so now if it was my dream, if I wanted to, be known as this, Stephen Colbert type figure or whatever, where, I'm pretty heavy hitting against a certain group of people type of political figure, then I would take the time to memorize
Right.
all of those things. But my ultimate dream is to write fantasy, to write fiction.
Yeah.
So I don't need to be memorizing that shit. What I need to be memorizing is the worlds I fucking make myself,
Right. Right.
not what's going on in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're smart enough that you could do that if you wanted to, but I respect that you kind of recognize that's not the lane you want to be in. Here's some comments. So Midwest Bahai Rava has joined us again from YouTube. Welcome back, Midwest. And she says, well, I think Midwest is a she. Mr. Byers is looking very good in that purple, respectfully. Uh, uh, Midwest, I
Thank
should
you.
let you know that Kimberly, who is KR's lady, is here in the chat. So just so you know, just so you're aware. But that is a lovely compliment. You do pull off purple really well, KR.
Oh, thank you.
And then Brandon, who the subject of your quizzing later, confidential to Brandon, you should study the parts of the vagine, I suspect, for this quiz later. Brandon, I happen to know Brandon is Gold Star like me and has never actually seen any of those in person. So there you go. That's my tip to you, Brandon. It's called a clitoris. I think. I think it's named after Bill Clinton, who discovered it.
When I told him I was bringing some things on the show and that's the only hint he got, he replied with, "Well, I guess I'll bring some things too."
Right. Right. You're gonna bring like, old weirdly shaped spatulas and baking equipment, and he's gonna bring out dildos and be like, oh, oops.
That would be funny. I mean, why not? I mean, if it makes people laugh, and it provides me with entertainment too, then I'm game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, I'm learning something about Midwest. Midwest is not a woman. Though my wife has said I'm so lesbian coded that I set off a completely different part of her brain than men do. Okay. Well, I get it, man. Like, I'm a queer dude who I don't know. I think I mostly present as kind of straight passing until I open my mouth and talk about penises. But whatever. It takes all kinds to make the world.
Yeah, I just got a flashback to a couple weeks ago when that person said that you don't look Jewish. I'm like, are you saying, Lawrence, that you don't look gay until you start to talk? Like,
I mean, I don't know. I don't think I look particularly gay, but anyone who knows me know that it takes me about 3.2 seconds to start talking about penises, right? Like, given the opportunity, I'll talk about how much I like them, how I like the smell, like whatever. Like, I'm just gonna.
I used to have this gay friend, and we're not friends anymore. He went down a really bad road. Anyways,
I'm sorry.
He would occasionally send me pictures of penises he liked, and at first I'd be like, ew, gross, put it away. Then I started sending him pictures of vaginas I like, and that
Nice.
ended that game real fucking quick.
Yeah, I would imagine. There are gay men out there who like can't look at a vagina. I'm not
Yeah.
one of them. Like I can appreciate a very nicely proportioned vagina. Um, you know,
I love the
it,
way you just worded that. A very nicely proportioned vagina.
well, I mean, in my case, it's mostly like I'm like, if I had that, how many dicks would I put in it? Like I'm not looking at it from the I want to eat that kind of thing. I'm more
Yeah.
like, where would that fit between my balls and my butthole? Like, I could probably squeeze that in.
Yeah. Happier and more evolved human beings will have all of it, right?
Honestly, right? Like at some point in the future, we're going to be able to, you'll go into the doctor or whatever, and you'll be like, I really want to try having a 13-inch penis, and a vagina,
Yeah.
and you know, and
Make it a
then,
deep one because I want to put it all in there.
right, right. Yeah, totally. And then probably we'll spend less time, making war against Iran and more time just fucking each other like bonobo monkeys.
Then we'll get bored of that and go back to war for a few centuries,
Right, right. We'll be like, yeah, I'm like, no. Actually, the whole penis vagina together thing was really good. Let's do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to the Daily Whatever Show, everyone, where you are bound to hear everything from theories on American educational systems to what it would be like if I had a vagina in addition to a penis.
Yeah, it's gotten wild. I mean, we did go from public education to that conversation, so it's a little bit interesting.
Again, I say I'm not sure that visually I come across as super gay, but man, let me open my mouth and I'm gonna drag the conversation there by hook or by crook. Some way or another, you're gonna end up getting an earful with me. Um, So I was about to start asking you about your kind of philosophy of Substack these days. So you're back more in kind of posting the happy, feel good. I'm not diminishing it. Like I think it's really really important stuff that you're doing, and you have this unbelievable knack to find like just the most heartwarming or thought-provoking stuff. Like where do you find it? How do you get that material?
All over. I mean, yeah, Facebook, Reddit, just wherever like I find it. I started when I decided to make the switch, I started going through and finding pages at first on Facebook, finding animal pages and people that, you had animals that were cute and adorable and stuff. And I started like engaging with that sort of content. And at the same time, I started blocking more political content, especially, political content that just, makes me mad.
Right, right.
And
Of
so,
which there's no shortage.
yeah, there's still even as much as I fucking block it, it's like every time I block like 10 goddamn, accounts that piss me off, 50 more fucking pop up the next time I go and scroll through it. I can't stand Facebook, but Reddit is easier because if you go and join the page, then the pages you like already belong to is pretty much all that comes up, and
Yeah.
so that makes it way easier to go through and find shit I enjoy. So yeah, it's been fun. I mean, I enjoy it. I'm back to writing, mostly just satirical, fiction. It's stuff. And I'm going to get into like writing true crime stuff, though, for like the more factual type articles.
Nice.
Serial killers and cult leaders are fascinating. They actually kind of overlap in personalities. If you start to like research and how they behave and how they interact with others. So I want to start like kind of, gutting them, so to speak. No pun intended.
I had a Dexter flashback there for a moment.
Yeah, that would be great if there was serial killers like Dexter, wouldn't it? But that just doesn't exist. They don't seem to care to try to be good people. There was one person that called themselves the Dexter serial killer, but they ended up just like shooting a person and then getting immediately caught.
So not very
So
good. You're not very good at your job.
no, that was a horrible idea. That was, once again, don't go try to join the NBA at 38, you know?
Yeah. 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 I love this for you. And you said you wanted to write fantasy as well. Like, are you actually working on any story or book projects at the moment?
So I have several different book concepts and ideas, and I've written out like the skeletons of quite a few different ones. And um, but it's one of those things where it's like I really want to be able to give my all to it. And so it's just kind of hard right now to juggle the things I'm doing and then also, sit there and focus on writing a full out, fantasy novel. But mostly that's just a fucking excuse. But yeah, I've got quite a few ideas that I enjoy and I think that they'll do well. One thing I am good at, you can ask my lady, is being able to like predict stories really well. So
Mm,
like when we're watching shows and stuff, I can predict what's going to happen pretty accurately
I believe that.
because I understand how story structures work and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so I just need to apply myself. But
Have you like here's a weird question. So I'm like an inveterate reader, right? Like I'm never not reading something. And somebody turned me on recently to this book series that I probably would like. I'm a total sci-fi nerd, but there's this genre out now called lit RPG, which is like role playing game sort of novels, like set in kind of like those types of worlds.
mhm.
Have you heard of Dungeon Crawler Carl? Has anyone heard of this?
Oh,
It's
God, I feel like
actually
I
become
have, but
so there's this. The author is Matt Dinneman, and it's like an eight book series at this point. And when the so this guy told me about it, and he was like, "Oh, I really think you'd like this," and I was like, "I don't know, man. Like I played World of Warcraft and all that kind of stuff, like for sure, but like I can't imagine a decent book being like about the holy fuck, it is so good. Like it is such a good series. And the like if I tell you the concept, you're gonna be like, that's a dumb concept. I'm not even gonna read that book. It's basically like this dude is um like in the very first scene, right? Like Earth is invaded by aliens. They collapse every building and structure on the Earth, and it's only because he's outside trying to rescue his girlfriend's cat from a tree that he survives. And the
I love that.
aliens basically they do this thing called a dungeon crawl, and this is their like they take over a world and they put all the people on that world through a dungeon crawl. And the idea is like if you can make it through all 18 levels of the dungeon, you have a chance to win your world back. But nobody ever does, right? Like it's
That
basically
difficult.
it's this giant metaphor for capitalism, like extractive capitalism. And the first book is like really cute and well like well written and fun. And the more they go on, the more you're like, this guy is making really intelligent points about extractive capitalism, and uh, it's so good. It's so good, and they just keep getting better, and the characters are really, really nicely developed and fleshed out. The cat ends up becoming a talking cat through a combination of magic and whatever. The cat's name is Donut. And so Carl and Donut are like this team competing to win back the Earth. It's fucking fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. It is such a fun read. And if you listen to what I just said and thought, as I did, that is the dumbest idea I've ever heard, I promise you it's so much better executed than that.
No, it does sound good. Because like like I said, like I know story pretty well. So the second you start like talking, like I start playing out how things could go and stuff
Yeah.
just naturally. And I have a very like visual like memory, so I can almost see things happening as you're describing them. And
Dude,
yeah,
you're
it
gonna
sounds actually good.
you would love it. Like there is a level of description, like detail in the description that it is. I mean, as much as anything, like I don't think the dude wrote it specifically to be a TV show or a movie. Although I'm pretty sure it is being turned into a TV show by Seth MacFarlane from Family Guy and American Dad.
Sweet.
Yeah, um, but like I, I don't know, like it is so visual. I highly recommend. Um,
You almost have to write like that now though, like because it's people, the attention span thing and stuff. There's no more Charles Dickens in it up, so to speak.
right, right. Yeah, no, it's yeah. There's no more like florid kind of or I don't know. I suppose literary fiction does still exist. It is not my genre. I don't read it. Um, but but yeah, like this is again highly recommend. And if you've ever played World of Warcraft or D&D or anything
Mhm.
like that, you're just gonna totally go crazy for it.
Yeah, I
Um,
used to be a big WoW nerd, so
yeah. Yeah. Oh, dude, you'll love it. I mean, it's all like buffs and enchanted armor and mana potions and like you'll get it right away.
I noticed that a lot of really good stories and stuff are kind of coming in more of like what I would call almost like an anime type presentation.
Yeah.
Like The Walking Dead, graphic novel. Um, Preacher, I don't know if you've seen that show or whatever. Also a graphic novel.
Yeah.
Um, and so in God, I can't decide if like Harry Potter even kind of falls underneath that, like kind of like a more visual journey. It kind of does,
I think so.
because it does talk about things, in a way is like, here's this world, here are these, ways, these rules you have to follow. And so, yeah, I mean, I dig it. I like fiction, even fiction that's, kind of more, realism fiction, I guess you could call it. I don't know if that's a thing, but one of the reasons I continue to always try to read and research and stuff is I want to be able to make like my fantasy even like more believable,
Yeah.
you know. If somebody has an ability to rust metal, just by touching it or whatever, I want to be able to describe the combustion that is rust, because that's what it is. It's a combustion.
Right.
It actually
Right.
gives off a small amount of radiation and heat. And I didn't know that before I started researching for that specific story that I just was referencing.
Yeah,
So
that's good world building. Like I like that is one of my favorite things about writing is being able to like create the world, and like define how things work. And even if it's just like, you know, sci-fi that's set in like a mostly recognizable world, like I like being able to describe the political tensions or the like the different geographic boundaries or whatever it is like that. I love world building. I think it is absolutely crucial to good writing. Like if you
yeah.
jump into a story and you don't understand how your world works or how your magic system works, if you're writing fantasy or whatever, then how can you describe it? How can you write it well if you haven't thought about how all that stuff works together?
I completely agree. And you have, successful authors like Stephen King, who, he's famously said, stop worrying about world building and just write a story,
Right.
and because he doesn't really, he doesn't have to world build that much. But then, after a, few dozen books or so, he did create the Dark Tower to kind of world build and tie them all together,
Right. I
you
mean
know?
that I was going to say like funny to hear Stephen King say that because talk about somebody who has created a world, right? Like a lot of his books
Yep.
sort of fit into the Stephen King universe that he has created that where like there's a lot of Maine, there's a lot of like small New England towns, there's like the it clown kind of shows up in a couple of different so and that is like good world building, right? Is
Yeah.
kind of being able to describe something for your audience so vividly that they want to keep coming back and revisiting that world and those characters.
Yeah, and like it for me, it is so fantasy. If Pennywise, or the Deadlights is what he really is.
Yeah.
He's so uh, uh, titillating, or he you piqued my curiosity to such an extent that I read things just to learn more about him.
Right.
To just understand, what actually is this fucking figure, because like when you first read about it, you're almost like, well, is this a demon? Is this a god? What is this? And like
Right.
the actual answer of what he really is much more amazing than, what you could have thought, in my opinion, and I won't reveal any more than I've already said for people who don't know that might want to. So, but, so I agree. Like, have you ever read his book, Fantasy, I think is actually all it's called? Might
I
just be
haven't.
Fantasy. That one is really, it's completely out of his normal genre. And so he does world build in that one because like the main character, it's kind of like a Alice, through the looking glass type scenario.
Yeah.
This individual goes into this completely other world, and has, an adventure throughout and stuff. And so, that one he really world builds, but it still ends up only being one book. He's never really been one that's like, I'm gonna make this a 20 book series. Like, not Tolkien is, his was long and stuff, but I was thinking Martin, George R.R. Martin.
Right.
Now there's like 20 books about the Game of Thrones world, Westeros and stuff, but he still can't fucking finish like the last 3 of his series.
Yeah. Right. It's maddening. It's maddening.
So, it is. So maddening.
We've got a comment from Midwest again saying King was building the plane as he flew it, which is a really good metaphor, right? Like King was world building as he was writing, and maybe he knew that he was building things in the related universe, and I don't know.
Yeah, Midwest also said, I think King was warning against people like Martin, who are clearly so lost in world building that he reaches a point of asking more questions than he can answer reasonably. And I think that's probably true.
Yep.
And so unless you are going to J.R.R. Tolkien it up and create, an entire history from literally the first spark of creation,
yep,
all the way to where, it ends, at the end of Lord of the Rings is technically the furthest point historically that he goes. And God, he created everything, languages, the history, how everything was created, how everything fell apart, who the bad guys were, unless you are willing to do that. But then you do have to just focus on like that one thing. You will never be able to write another series or anything because that's going to be your life.
Right. Right. And, and I do think that George R.R. Martin is trying to do that, right? Like he's trying to be the modern day Tolkien, and, like, power to you, man. And did you watch Night of the Seven Kingdoms by any chance?
No, I was waiting because I think it was that one was releasing like one episode a week for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're all out now. There were only
6.
Okay.
See, I was waiting for them all to be out. I don't like waiting for episodes to come out. I hate that
great,
shit.
Right? Like it's a really fun watch. It's the world. It's Westeros, but it's not kind of as heavy. I mean, it is heavy in certain ways, but like it's more fun. It has more of a sense of humor to it than Game of Thrones did. But I mean, honestly, there were moments where I was Googling and I was like, which Aegon is this? I know there are like 4 or 5 Aegons. Which one is this? And like that's some pretty extensive world building when people are literally Googling like which fictional king of the same name.
Well, and he did it brilliantly because like he had to either he was a history master himself or he had friends who were history masters or something, because if you go through and like start comparing the names of all like the major houses and like how they interacted with each other, and then go through like history of Europe, you'll start to see like some really crazy similarities between them, and you'll realize, holy shit, he just basically took our actual history and actually like dimmed it down a little because we were even more ruthless than they are to each other in the Game of Thrones shit, like we did some horrible crap to each other back in the day. And so but yeah, a lot of the names, even like you'll find names, I can't think of any off the top of my head of course right now, but you're like, wait, that sounds like Targaryen, that sounds like Lannister, and Lannister is one actually. So he did it really brilliantly, tying things into reality like that, while still world building your own complete unique creation is genius. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. Man, we're at the top of the hour, and I love that we could just jump on a live, and Dana is getting some much needed rest, but we can shoot the shit and talk about a million different things. I could veer off into mass inappropriateness, still bring it back. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it, man. Tell everybody like where they can find you and how to sign up and subscribe.
Yeah, so I mean, you can go find me on my profile, KR Byers. I do right now. I have World of News and World of Satire. Soon, I'll be changing World of News to World of Information, so that I can cover more things than just news. New whatever. And then also, I'll be adding World of Fiction. And that'll be where I'll start posting my fiction work and stuff. So it'll all be there on my profile. So yeah, go stay tuned. There's lots of things coming. I have to go renovate my house because the renters moved out. So I'll probably be posting about that somewhere and covering
Nice.
all of that and everything. And so adding that to my content. But yeah.
That's cool. I love a good house reno. Like that's man, I'm totally hooked on that shit. Like the before and after, and oh my god, we pulled up the linoleum and found whatever. Like I'm
Oh, it's a
all in on
mess,
that
dude.
stuff.
It's I'm a slum lord. I'm glad that they're moving out so that I can move in and fix it because it's fucking bad, dude. Think as bad as you think it is, just picturing it in your head right now, it's worse. I promise.
Damn. I
It
don't know,
still has
man.
wooden windows.
Wait, what?
Wooden windows.
Oh, damn.
Like where the frames are wood
Yeah.
and they slide in a wood track.
Yep.
Yep.
Like super old school, pre
Yeah.
1970s, maybe pre 1950s. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in. Like share those pics and vids and whatnot, and I'll watch your home reno. That sounds amazing.
Sweet. Thank you. Well, thank you for having me, Lawrence. I appreciate it. It was a fun time. We had some good conversations. I enjoyed much.
Yeah, yeah. Always fun to have you on the show. You're always welcome back, man. We love having you here. Hopefully, Dana is feeling better. Huge thanks to everyone for being here today. And tomorrow is Dana's Fine Feminist Hour. So I will be off tomorrow, and Dana will hopefully be here feeling better. I'm a terrible, terrible person. I don't know who the guest is. I don't remember. Karen, if you know, put it in the chat. Anyway, come back tomorrow for Dana, and then on Friday, it's Fucked Up Friday, and we've got Rachel at This Woman Votes here for Fucked Up Friday, so come on back. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, KR. Talk
Thank
to you
you.
later. Love you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.